Hey everybody, we're going to talk about a piece of leather gear that I got my hands on courtesy of Popov Leather. This is the EDC Pocket Armor. I equipped it with a few things, and after a month of using it, I want to show you my thoughts on this leather product and compare it to similar items that I already have, so stick around. Alright, the EDC Pocket Armor. This is 4¼ inches by 2½ inches. Has a little bit of a webbing here to put one of these compact pens. I'm going to go over the equipment a little bit later, but the reason why I want to take a look at this is that it is eerily similar to some of my own personal leather projects to protect my folding knives. And I got this is my first one here, and this is another one that I made for another folding knife. And I just thought that the areas that I have a little bit difficulty in when I make these types of projects, I can compare this against how this is made and give you my thoughts whether or not it's a well crafted item. So you can get this at popovleather.ca, and the price ranges from $25 to $35 Canadian just with the case. And the reason for that is they use the Horween Chrome XL leather. It comes in about 8 different tones or dyes or colors, and then depending on which one of those, you can have up to 6 thread choices. So you got lots of customization options. You can also have the option to have it engraved if you want. So let's go through some of the aspects that I like about this. So when I first got this out of the box, it looked really nice, and one of the areas that I looked at, and of course you won't see it here because I've been wearing it for a month, but lines are pretty tough to do when you're doing leather projects. I mean, keeping lines straight, or if you're doing curves, have a nice curve to it, is important. And when you're not straight, you know, when you don't have things straight, things look kind of funny. And the only difference between the EDC Pocket Armor and mine is that mine is wet formed, and I had included a belt loop in mine so that it's kind of a vertical or horizontal carry. This one here is just a slip. Put this in your pocket. So lines are nice and straight. After a month of use, you can tell here the leather has kind of wrapped itself or formed itself around the pen. This is just from wearing it in my pocket, but and lines are nice. The other thing of note is the thread and the stitching. And compared to, let's say, this one here, I think the stitch holes are pretty much in the same spot. Having your stitch line nice and straight. They're using a saddle stitch for this, and I use a single stitch kind of pattern. And you can tell the finishing is a lot nicer on the EDC Pocket Armor. This one here is just functional. The other thing that I've noticed too is, where does the thread sit? Usually you may want to groove the thread line, I call it the thread line, so that the thread is kind of flush with the leather, doesn't sit on top, so that it doesn't wear out quite as fast. Compared to mine, I don't do that. Didn't do that on these ones, and you can clearly see the thread is on top of the leather. So in fact, the next point is the finish. You know, how does the thread or the stitch finish, and can you find where he cut it and snipped it and tucked it in and all that? And I think I found it. Took me a little while actually. Right behind here, very nice little finish. Compared to mine, which is kind of behind here, but he did a much nicer job because mine, I noticed mine broke. And the third aspect is the edges, the burnish. You know, how does that get kind of edged out or rubbed down and sanded and get yourself a nice curve. That can spend a little bit of time on that. How the two pieces, you know, when you burnish them and bevel them, the edges, how does that look? And you know, amateur stuff here, their edges are really nice, finished together. pretty nice. So let's talk about the Horween leather. This is my first product using the Horween leather as compared to regular veg tan leather that I dyed afterwards and put some other products on here to give it a gloss and protect it. So Horween leather is a different tanning process. It's just a longer process to give it a much different look to it. The feel of the leather, it's softer, more supple. When you stress the leather or stretch it or use it, it changes color, changes tint. It gives that stretch look, a very sexy, rustic, worn look that, depending on the tone that you get, ends up with a very nice looking product. So as a result, this is a more expensive leather to acquire. You can't just go to Tandy Leather to get yourself some Horween. You gotta order them from Horween, and it's not like you can grab a couple remnants pieces and quickly make one for a few dollars. It is a little bit more expensive. So being able to have a vendor that just deals with that is kind of nice. In terms of the hardware that you can equip the EDC pocket armor with, you can have your bullet pens. I opted for the Fisher Space Pen. This is just the brass finish. You can notice the patina after a month is starting to wear down, which is pretty nice. The webbing has been holding up pretty good. There's just one little spot here that started to fray a bit. I don't know if that's me or not, but so that's a nice little piece here. It's firmly inside the webbing here, so it'd be interesting to see how long this will last. All right, so for folding knives, I think 2-layer knives would probably work the best for this, but 3-layer knives like this Pioneer X, which has the extra layer for scissors, has a little key ring and a little tag, works pretty nice. You can also use the other shorter style of Swiss Army knives, such as the Climber, Farmer, Spartan, those guys. That will also fit nicely into it. And you can see why I kind of like the ones with the key ring, so that it can have a little tag and just pull it out. Really nice. You can also use Leatherman Juice. That will fit in here also. I didn't bring it with me today, but I think the CS2 would probably be a good model for that. I think the 4 might be a little too thick for this. All right, so I hope you liked this video, how I compared my rough leather projects compared to the Popov leather. Overall, it's a very well-crafted piece of kit. The leather is really nice compared to the veg tan leather that I use for my other projects, and it's very customizable in terms of the different leather colors, threads, and of course what you're going to put in it, so the pen or the knife. So this could be part of a very nice kit if you want to put together for your dad, partner, whatever. I think it's a good it's a nice touch. The engraving service that they add, or the option, is a nice touch, and this is something that you could probably carry with you for quite a few years. So I'd really like to thank Ryan over at Popov Leather for sending this to me to evaluate. I think it's worth checking out, guys. So popovleather.ca, links are in the description, and post down in your comments what you think, and that's about it. Talk to you guys next time.